international publisher known as Hope Flynn Harcourt. We have started on this journey almost 7 going 8 years now. And I'm about to share with you also, in this presentation, the evidence of that success. Because when it's all said and done, products and tools are only what they are. They're tools. The impact on learning and achievement is the integration and interaction between caring, competent teachers and that individual child. To talk about 2 important ideas in education: the idea of innovation and the idea of change. I want to share with you a thought. I don't know how many of you know of or have seen any of the presentation on TED.com from Sir Ken Robinson. If you haven't, I invite you to go on and look at some of that presentation. Sir Ken Robinson, in a presentation, made reference to the fact that Al Gore several years ago indicated, of course, on promulgate what was a known fact. And that is, there is a climate crisis in the world. And of course he said, if you don't believe it, you just have to take a walk outside on a midday. You feel the heat of the sun and you see the weather condition that's going on globally, and you've got to realize something is happening. But he also mentioned that there is a second crisis, a second climate crisis that is occurring globally. And that crisis, indeed, is a crisis of human resources. It has probably been more severe than the climate crisis. It's about developing the human talents and using those talents appropriately. In education in Nassau, Bahamas, or in the Bahamas, as well as in the world, there needs to be a revolution he talked about. Not a reformation, but a revolution where there's a radical change in the way we do business. Human resources are like natural resources. It's buried deep within, and you will have to mine it in order to get that out and to see the benefit of it. And I want to submit to you that it will take innovation. It will take an understanding of change to be able to accomplish that in this 21st century. So let me proceed. How many of us can remember some of the changes that has occurred in our lifetime? Let me just do a check here. How many of us can remember the floppy disk? When kids today see, of course I still have at my home these big LPs. You know the LPs? The record? And folks come to the house and see the LPs and said, I've never seen a big CD like that. They think it's a CD. You know. But indeed, things have changed so much. And I'm just giving you a bit of highlights here around some of the changes. Who remember the Apple I, the Apple II, the Commodore 64, and the TRS-80? Of course, you're sort of aging, checking yourself there. Truly, in 1981, IBM produced the first PCs. Some of the things that has happened. Video games, 3D video games in 1987. We're talking in less than 2.5 decades what has happened in our world. And especially in the last decade, what we have encountered. There was a time there was no such thing as a cellular phone. Now every household and every person literally, in elementary or primary school, all the way up, you see them have these. And they just don't have a simple flip phone, they now have smartphones. So that's the world we live in. And we've got to get real, because the kids we're teaching today are digital natives. We can't prepare them for the world that you and I live in. We have to prepare them for a world that we don't even conceive. And that's a reality. And so when we talk about change, we've got to understand change and how to manage the change process in an intelligent, purposeful, and intentional way so that we can get the desired outcome. Most recently, in the last 5 to 10 years, we have been encountering a revolution that is definitely in what we call the social media. We know that there is a revolution, that the social media is transforming both politics, economics, and I would dare say, yes, education. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're about my age, some of these things we're not always willing to embrace. But whether or not we want to embrace them, they're here to stay. So why don't we direct them in the appropriate ways in which to leverage them for teaching and learning so that we can be successful at our task. And so what I want to share with you is that there's so many changes, and that's why in our partnership with Oakland Film Art Court is how do we transform the classroom to 21st century classroom? How do we create the environment so that teachers and students and parents can engage in productive exercises for teaching and learning?